Hipokrat je rekao, neka vaša hrana bude vaš lijek, a vaš lijek neka bude vaša hrana. U toj rečenici mogao bi se sažeti rad jednog od pionira pokreta sirove hrane, Johna Fieldera, koji je iz preko 80 godina neumoran u svom radu. Osnivač je Akademije prirodnog življenja u Queenslandu u Australiji i prepun iskustava s procesima prirodnog isciljivanja. Sve je sažeo u nekoliko principa. Zdravlje je prirodna ravnoteža, a organizam ima tendenciju da se sam iscijeli. Procesu prirodnog iscjeljivanja treba se vjerovati bez želje da ga se kontrolira, te pritom treba imati u vidu činjenicu da većinu energije naš organizam troši na probavu. Ako ga potaknemo da prištedi tu energiju, ostaće više energije za procese iscjeljivanja. Desetljeća prakse Johna Fieldera dovela su do sirove hrane. Neminovno je bilo da se jednoga dana nađe i ovdje, na rubu znanosti. Dobro večer. Gospodin John Fielder stiže za Australije, već je rečeno, iz Akademije prirodnog življenja, također je predsjednik Britanskog higijeničarskog društva, te se pitanjima odnosa zdravlja i hrane bavi već pola stoljeća. Dobro večer.
I've been involved with natural living since 1963, and so that makes it 51 years, I think, this year. Is that right?
Yes, it could be. Već desetljećima ukazujete na ideju da je sirova hrana nekako najbolji izbor ponude u silnoj ponudi raznih načina ishrane koje se nudi oko nas. Kako ste došli do sirove hrane? Koji put je doveo do toga? Kako je sve počelo?
Actually, what brought me to being involved with raw food in the beginning, and I would like to point out that not only raw food is involved here in being healthy, that there are all the other aspects of being physically active, getting fresh air and sunlight, and having your head in place, because if you don't have your thoughts right, you can kill yourself with the thoughts in your own mind, even though you might be eating correctly. But beside that, myself, when I was very young and much earlier than I can remember, I became ill, and I had continual bouts of bronchitis and migraine headaches, which gradually became worse and worse until at the age of 28 they were virtually chronic. The bronchitis, through the medication that I'd been taking, had morphed into asthma, and of course when you're an asthmatic, you feel that unless you take medication, you're going to die. And that's what you're told by the profession. And, of course, one of the first things that you have to do to be able to get beyond that is you have to go through an asthmatic attack without taking any medication and finding out that you actually don't die, that you are able to live. And that is perhaps the hardest hurdle to overcome in the beginning, and that is true of everyone who is chronically ill. And the first step is the hardest step, because then once you've taken the first step and you know within yourself that it can be done, then nobody can take that away from you. Whereas previously it's all been done on faith. And as you know, faith is not exactly the best thing to apply practical ways of living. You need to actually have the practical application to be able to convince yourself, if nothing else. And so having come to the age of 28 and then coming into contact with the way of living that I now follow and espouse, that and finding out that I could reverse the process instead of, as most people expect in their life under orthodox treatment, to gradually become worse and worse and worse until eventually you die, I was able to reverse the process and become better and better and better. And this occurred in such a way that I could see that it had the potential not only for myself but for many, many people out there in the world. And I was at a stage in my own life where change was required because I had a young family growing up, and my wife was complaining because I was involved in an occupation which was taking me away from home for long periods of time. And she said, your children need you. They need the father to be there as well as only the mother. And of course, I agreed with that. And so I was looking for some way of changing my profession. And this seemed to be an ideal opportunity to perhaps study the aspects of health and to be able to then change my direction and to be home with my children and to help with their upbringing in a more natural way or natural environment for them too. And so I then made inquiries and found that I could study certain things like osteopathy, chiropractic, naturopathy, and so on, and natural hygiene. And so I went and I'd studied those disciplines and became proficient in them and set up myself in professional practice.
Spomenuli ste da ste se izliječili od kroničnog bronhitisa i astme. Kako ste to učinili?
How come? Well, the only thing is that I can only say that that was because of the way that I was being fed in my lifetime, and perhaps I had certain genetical limitations as well, which contributed towards it. And of course, the way that I was being fed was traditionally what is considered in Australia as traditional was 3 veg, as they say, 3 vegetables and meat. And that was your meal. And that was accepted as being such. And so the outcome of that seemed to be the main causative factor, because as soon as I changed that and moved away from that particular way of eating, as well as becoming more physically active externally and in more fresh air and sunlight and so on, that I was able to reverse the situation.
Danas na svijetu doista ne nedostaje raznih škola, metoda i principa ishrane. Na neki način, s druge strane, u medicinskim školama nutricionizam nije toliko prepoznat kao lijek koliko bi mogao biti prema tradicijama koje govore da je hrana zapravo lijek. I imamo brojne suprotstavljene koncepte. Pitanje ugljikohidrata, proteina, masti, kuhanja, ne kuhanja, žitarica da, žitarica ne, neki jedu samo voće i slično. Na koji način, neki od tih načina su jednostavni, neki baš i nisu, zahtijevaju trud i napor. Na neki način preporuke vaše idu prema jednostavnosti. U kom smislu bi zapravo čovjek mogao inkorporirati na neki jednostavan način to što se zove danas sirovom hranom i što bi zapravo trebalo na neki način izbjeći, jer i unutar sirove hrane također nije baš sve ujednačeno, niti je svaka sirova hrana na neki način jednako životna.
No. I like your concept of simple, because it is the concept upon which I operate and which I function and which I believe in. It's a matter of keeping things as simple as possible. It's what we call the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. And if we keep things simple, if we realize that the animals in their natural state, they don't go out there and prepare their meals. They don't put them all together in this way or that way or some other way. They eat them as they occur. And this is the principle which I believe is uppermost and important. If we learn to eat things as they come to us in nature and not to have to worry about making all these gourmet foods. In actual fact, my experience has been that you can be just as ill eating raw foods if they're all provided in this gourmet fashion as you can in eating traditionally. And this I would warn people against. As you've said, there are so many different ideas just within the raw food movement itself, without even going beyond that are confusing. But if you can just focus on keeping it simple and going out there and being able to just sit down and, if you want to, if you felt like it, just to eat the head of a lettuce, or to eat a carrot, or to eat an apple as you picked it off the tree, or whatever, then that is the ideal. I know that perhaps isn't always aesthetically possible, or when I say possible, it might not be something that we appreciate aesthetically, but it is definitely the ideal if we can only move in that direction.
Ja sam osobno bio iznenađen kad sam saznao da unutar, recimo, pokreta sirove hrane postoje razne razlike, jer činilo mi se da ne može biti razlika u ničem što je toliko jednostavno kao što je koncept sirove hrane. Ispostavilo se da može. Možete li dati neke primjere gdje, recimo, sirova hrana je sirova, ali nije ono što biste vi mislili da bi trebala biti?
Yes. One of the most important ways, or outstanding ways, that I have seen is in the way of dehydration. That a lot of people feel that the dehydrated food is quite an acceptable food as a raw food, and they can just eat that, and that will make them enable their body to function at a healthy level. Whereas this is really not so, because you don't find dehydrated food naturally. If you went out in the field, you went out into the orchards and places like that, you don't find dehydrated food there overall. You find fresh food as it is, as it comes off. You will find some dehydrated food at particular times, but it is minimal. And it's nice to have a minimal part of your diet is dehydrated, but it should not be the maximal part.
Na temelju više desetljetnog iskustva koje imate, kako biste mogli ukratko opisati učinke konzumiranja sirove hrane na ljudsko zdravlje? Znam da je svaki slučaj individualan, ali možda postoje neki generalni opisi učinaka u smislu više energije, manje energije ili nekakvih drugih parametara.
Yes, I could really, perhaps the easiest way is to say that the people that come to me asking for my advice, that 70 to 80% of them are people who have been through the medical system and have been told there's nothing more we can do for you, or they themselves have said, well, I'm not getting anywhere, I need to move away from this and I need to do something else. And so they themselves, that the results of the experience with those people that are all so chronically ill that they've given up on life virtually, and for them to be able to turn their life around, and well over 50% of those people are able to turn their life around, even though they've been told there's nothing more that can be done for them. That to me is the greatest proof that I can ever have.
A što se tiče zdravih ljudi koji znači nisu otpisani, kakvi su učinci sirove hrane na njihovo životno stanje?
Yes. Immediately, well, the first thing that happens to people once they change their lifestyle, and I would prefer to talk about lifestyle than I would raw food in a way, but once we change our lifestyle, the first thing that occurs is the body then goes into healing mode, because you've released all of this energy that's been used up previously to just keeping you alive, where that energy then is available to heal you from the damage that you've done because you haven't been living as you should have been living. And that energy then goes to healing, and people start to feel perhaps worse before they feel better. It's like building or buying an old house, one that's in a way a state of being broken down, and the first thing you have to do is you have to tear down half of the stuff that's in there and get rid of all of that. And that process is going on in our body. You've got to tear down all of the unhealthy matter that we've accumulated. You've got to change the unhealthy cells that are in our body and change them into healthy cells. And that's a pretty dirty process, just as it is with your house when you're in there and you're pulling it all out. It's all there's dust and there's rubbish and there's muck and everything you can think of that's going here, there and everywhere, and a whole big mess that you have to clear up. And that's what's happening within you. And so you're feeling pretty poor. You're feeling perhaps worse than you've ever felt in your life for a while. And this can go on for 3-6 months or so, depending upon how old you are and how badly you've lived beforehand. And then you find that gradually, slowly, you start to feel better and better and better. That happens very slowly, but that takes 3 to 6 months for that process before you start to feel that way. And that can be rather hard for people. You see, that's the time of faith. That's where we have to live by the faith. And then, once we've experienced it, all of a sudden, these people find that they start to feel better than they've ever felt in their life. They start to be able to do things that they thought they'd never be able to do again.
Jeste li se ikad pitali zbog čega je toliko u ljudskoj tradiciji ukorijenjeno kuhanje hrane? Naime, u ideji sirove hrane ima toliko nekakve elementarne jednostavnosti i logičnosti. Svi znaju čisto intuitivno kako to izgleda kada je nešto svježe, da samo život hrani život i slično. Međutim, ipak mi nalazimo termičku obradu hrane posvuda po svijetu i kao što ste rekli, mnogi ljudi smatraju u mnogim regijama da je to nekakva tradicija stara i slično. Naravno da s kuhanjem nije nepoznato da se već na kemijskoj razini neke tvari raspadaju, nestaju i slično. C vitamine ne može izdržati 40 stupnjeva i slično. Kako je onda na neki način ljudski rod ušao u tu tradiciju kuhanja koja s jedne strane oduzima i više vremena, a s druge strane očigledno se ponešto i gubi u tom procesu, a ipak je sve prisutno?
This is a theory. You must realize this is purely my theory, and it doesn't have to be true, but this is what I have come to believe after traveling the world and looking at the different cultures and the different things that we have started to incorporate in our diet. Like if you go to China and you see all of the different the shark's fins that are cooked up and the different parts of the animal bodies that are presented in different ways, and you think, well, how is it that this has occurred? And what I feel has happened over the centuries, because we're looking at centuries, we're not looking at just a few hundred years, we're looking at thousands of years of living on this planet. And over that time, we've had periods when there's been plenty of excess of food. Then there have been periods also when there have been droughts and there's been no food. And what I believe is that we have experimented over the time and found different ways of preparing foods which normally wouldn't be eaten overall, which they traditionally, perhaps in the beginning, were not considered as food. But because there's been a shortage of food, we have looked to see how we can prepare this food so as it can be eaten overall. Like there are a lot of foods that you may know or you may not know that require to be soaked before for X number of hours to get rid of certain toxins that are in them, alkaloids and poisons, if you like it that way, and then have to be cooked before they are acceptable for us as foods. And so we've had to learn these things, and we have learnt them, as I would see it, in times of when there's been shortages of foods, to enable us to be able to survive. You know, when there's no food, or whatever food that is there is in a state of fermentation, it's breaking down, how do you use it? So it's this experimentation of, and gradually that has taken over and become the main part of our life. That's my theory.
Teorija ima određene logike. Ne možemo naravno znati je li točna, ali to nije ni predmet ovog razgovora, nego radi se o tome da postoji jedna stavka u ljudskom tijelu koja se često previđa, a to je činjenica koliko naša probava zapravo troši energije. Naravno da mnogi koji su se odlučili postiti, na kraju krajeva u katoličkoj tradiciji petak je dan posta i slično, se osjeća uvijek lakše i ugodnije i post nije nešto što je nepoznato u ljudskom društvu. Međutim, u kojoj mjeri sirova hrana štedi energiju probave? Znači nešto što nije u stvari post, koje se inače ljudima često puta i preporučuje da periodično svakih toliko dana ili tjedana jedan dan ne jedu, od toga će svakom biti samo bolje da se malo detoksificira i slično. Kakav je odnos sirove hrane i energije koju organizam troši na probavu?
Well, if we realize that firstly raw food is basically, as I understand it, the only food which is recognized by the body as food as such. When we introduce cooked food into our body, we increase the white blood cell count of our body and into a condition which is called leukocytosis to deal with the extra load that the body is being placed upon it by the introduction of the cooked food. It takes so much more energy for the body to deal with the cooked food. And so when we introduce raw food, you release all of that energy. And that energy then is then available for the body to deal with any harm that is done to it, which it wasn't able to deal with previously. I'm not sure that answers your question.
Odgovorili ste. Upravo je to bilo pitanje. Vratit ćemo se nakon priloga na neke koncepte i ideje vezane uz mogućnosti tijela da se samo iscijeli. U međuvremenu do sad jesmo saznali ponešto o ideji sirove hrane. U sljedećih nekoliko minuta raspitali smo se kod onih koji su se u tome našli. Kako se to zbilo za njih, kako su se uopće upoznali s Johnom Fielderom, te kako je njegovo mjesto na današnjoj karti.
Australac John Fielder jedan je od pionira sirovojedstva, prehrane koja se temelji na sirovoj hrani. Već preko 50 godina prakticira taj životni stil. Svoja znanja i iskustva prenosi u knjigama, predavanjima i radionicama diljem svijeta. Čakovčanka Marijana Pontoni već nekoliko godina surađuje s Johnom Fielderom.
S Johnom Fielderom sam došla u kontakt u Varaždinu preko obitelji Kos koji su organizirali predavanje u svom centru gdje je John Fielder govorio o načinu prehrane koji u biti meni odgovara, jer sirovojedstvo, nažalost, onako kako mi danas poznajemo, uglavnom nam dolazi preko Amerike, a Amerika kako sve komercijalizira, tako je komercijalizirala i najjednostavniju stvar na svijetu, a to je kako pojesti jabuku, bananu, naranču ili tako nešto.
Različiti pristupi sirovojedstvu, posebice u Sjedinjenim Državama, učinili su tu vrstu prehrane skupim životnim stilom. John Fielder nastoji promijeniti te stereotipe kako bi ta vrsta hrane bila svima pristupačna. Načela sirovojedstva temelje se na dobrobitima hranjivih tvari koje se ne uništavaju preradom, kuhanjem ili pečenjem.
Sirovojedstvo prakticiram već, nekoliko godina. U principu ne brojim zbog toga jer imam filozofiju da kad se nešto broji, onda znači da si ovisan o onome prije. Jednom kad prestaneš brojati, znači da si to otpustio. Ja sam za to da ljudi čim više mogu se okrenuti sirovojedstvu. Zbog toga jer ne postoji osoba na ovom svijetu koju ćemo vjeriti da je nešto brži obrok od recimo uzeti jabuku i oprati ju i pojesti ju. Čak ako je organska ne morate ju niti prati, dovoljno je malo obrisati, jel? Takvim načinom doista se dovodimo u stanje kad imaš više energije, kad možeš lakše se nositi sa svime onim što dan postavi pred tebe, bilo da si, recimo zaposlena majka, zaposlen otac ili jednostavno hoćeš imati više energije za uživati u danu. Osnove prehrane bi trebali biti bliže, ajmo reći, makrobiotičkim principima, a to znači da se hranimo što više lokalno, što više kupujemo od naših organskih vrtlara koji uzgajaju namirnice čim bliže prirodnom nekakvom načinu uzgoja, a upravo to je ono što zagovara John Fielder. Idealno bi bilo kada bi svako od nas mogao imati uvjete i uzgojiti si barem jedan dio namirnica koje konzumira on i njegova obitelj. Međutim, ako to nije moguće, onda se preporuča doista povezati se sa lokalnom mrežom uzgajivača koji uzgajaju organski ili, kako John to običava reći, čini najbolje što možeš. Ako smo čim bliže jednostavnosti, ako prihvatimo da si priuštimo najbolje što možemo, onda se rješavamo i stresa, a samim tim i jednog velikog čimbenika koji uzrokuje autoimune bolesti.
Fielder tvrdi da je sirovojedstvom riješio neke od svojih zdravstvenih problema, poput čestih migrena, astme, artritisa i tako dalje.
Kad je u Hrvatskoj, onda je obično kod nas naš gost, kućni, I njegov dan izgleda na način da propušta doručak. Ručak mu je oko 12:01 i sastoji se doslovno od voća, koje najčešće nije pripremljeno u nikakav recept, nego doslovno jabuke, banane, kruške, jagode, dakle što je već sezonski. Uglavnom se stavlja naglasak na sezonsko dostupno voće, koje se jede već onako kako čovjeku dođe volja i uglavnom u mjeri u kojoj mu dođe volja preporučuje se ni više od 750 grama tijekom tog obroka.
Na sjeveru Australije, u Cairnsu, u Queenslandu, Fielder vodi farmu organske hrane, gdje je smještena i njegova Akademija prirodnog življenja.
John Fielder je, nakon što je sam sebe educirao dovoljno da može primati ljude i preuzimati odgovornost za njihovo zdravlje, na način da vi doista danas, kad alopatska medicina, ono što zovemo tradicionalno, da je najmanje tradicionalna medicina, već od njih digla ruke i doslovno im dala nekakav rok za sređivanje zemaljskih stvari tipa 6-3 mjeseca, možete doći k njemu i oporaviti se. Dakle, on doista nadgleda vaš oporavak i ljudi često puta s njegove farme, kako on to kaže, dakle s njegovog imanja odlaze u dobrom zdravstvenom stanju, odnosno još imaju nekakvih 10, 15, 20, ima čak ljudi koji su imaju 40 godina proživljenosti nakon što im je postavljena najkatastrofalnija dijagnoza koju su mogli očekivati u svom životu. Osjetio je želju da bi htio da svugdje u svijetu postoji barem jedna osoba koja bi mogla nastaviti s takvim načinom rada, pa je pokrenuo akademiju koja je internet akademija, međutim da bi se ona završila, odnosno da se stekne punopravna dozvola za obavljanje i prakticiranje prakse kako prakticira John Fielder, potrebno je 6 mjeseci provesti baš kod njega na imanju.
Aktivan je i kao predsjednik Britanskog naturopatskog društva, koje promovira život na prirodnim načelima. Ne alternativna medicina, već alternativa medicini. Jedna je od Fielderovih izreka.
Te slogan se u biti odnose na to da cilj Johnovog djelovanja, cilj njegovog rada nije da kad nam se dogodi recimo da razvijemo visoku temperaturu ili gripu, što se najčešće boljetice, ajmo one najblaže uzeti, da onda se okrećemo tome kako sniziti temperaturu, kako zaustaviti curenje iz nosa ili kad su alergije kako maknuti simptome. Ne, on se ne bavi tim. On govori promijeni način života i simptomi će sami nestati. Ono što je zanimljiv podatak, evo čisto još malo da podvučem ovu razliku između amerikaniziranog pristupa sirovojedstvu i Johna Fieldera, jest da sam prije par mjeseci naletjela na čovjeka kojeg zovu djedom sirovojedstva u Americi. Taj čovjek je u sirovojedstvu nekakvih 30 i nešto godina. John Fielder je sirovojedac 50 i nešto godina. Tako da, toliko o tome. Mislim da jednostavno je to osoba koja je skromna, koja zna što radi, koja to jednostavno radi, manje je posvećen marketingu, a doista je posvećen onome što zagovara, o čemu podučava. Znači, promijeniti životni stil, pomoći ljudima da promijene životni stil i to je ono po čemu je, vjerujem, sve i bit će sve poznatiji u svijetu.
Kada se priča o sirovoj hrani, cijelo vrijeme se priča o štednji energije, da tijelo na neki način se ne mora toliko boriti s toksinima, da lakše živi i da možda može ostvariti svoje potencijale u nekom drugom smislu. U stvari to nas dovodi na jednu temu koja je danas sve prisutnija, a to je tema samoiscijeljenja. Na neki način ljudi su više uviđaju da jedino pravo iscijeljenje je samoiscijeljenje i to nije toliko zapravo neobično. I sami ste u razgovoru jednom rekli, kada porežete prst, on zacijeli sam, a mi možemo eventualno staviti flaster. Na koji način zapravo promatrate te odnose samoiscijeljenja i što u stvari čovjek treba napraviti da bi tijelu dopustio da ti sofisticirani mehanizmi prorade? Kada je riječ o mnogo bolnim i složenim stvarima nego što je porizotina na prstu.
Yes. By the release of this energy, you find that it doesn't matter what condition we're dealing with. Let me perhaps share with you an experience that I had with one of my clients. And this client and her husband went to New Zealand for a holiday, and they were in a motel room, and a car came through the wall of the motel and pinned them on the other side of the room against the opposite wall. The husband wasn't greatly damaged, but the wife, her legs were crushed. And because they were clients of mine, they immediately rang me from New Zealand and asked me what should they do. And they were already in the hospital at this particular time. And in the hospital they were wanting to amputate both of the wife's legs. And I spoke to the surgeon about the situation and was able to get a better idea of it. And I said to him, I said, well, from my viewpoint, that it would be wonderful if you would be happy for my client to fast. That is, to not eat anything, and also that if you would be willing to just leave it for a few days and see what the results are, and before you make any move towards surgery. And we discussed this quite in depth, and eventually he said, no, I can't agree to the fasting. And I said, well, the next best would be if you would just allow my client just to drink juice and fruit juice. And he said, after much thought, he said, well, I think I can agree to that. And I said, well, what about the surgery? He said, well, I think that one leg definitely has to be amputated. And he said, I'm willing to think about the second leg. Well, the outcome was that one leg was amputated and the other leg was left, and the lady today still has her leg and is still able to be mobile on just one leg. But the outcome was that the surgeon, because he was so impressed by the healing that occurred, because the lady was able to then to reduce her intake of food to just drinking juice, which not in our words or not in our thoughts is fasting, but it's very close to it. The healing was so outstanding that he went out and bought a juice extractor.
Ovo je bio dosta drastični primjer i kao takav vrlo dobar zapravo da se raspravi to pitanje samo iscijeljenja, jer svi mi znamo da se sami iscijelimo od prehlade, od porezotina, međutim kod težih stvari na neki način se nađemo pred zidom straha i pitanjem može li tijelo doista to učiniti. U svakom slučaju bilo bi još zanimljivo kada pričamo o prehrani i školama prehrane razmotriti pojmove kao što su recimo vegani ili frutarijanci, drugim riječima pričamo o ljudima koji su se odredili samo za jednu vrst namirnice ili su neke potpuno isključile. Što vi mislite o veganima, frutarijancima, kakve su iskustva sa njima i sa tim školama prehrane? Jesu li one doista one takve da su potpuno dostatne za čovjeka ili imaju i one nekih svojih manjkavosti?
In the beginning, when I was first beginning in practice, of course, I had no real understanding of veganism, fruitarianism, except from the literature that was available at that particular time. And over the years, of course, I went through periods of experimentation myself to find out how it affected me, because to me, that is really the only true way that I'm going to know anything about this. And the initial experimentation that I had on myself was fairly positive, but not entirely positive overall. I wasn't completely happy with the results, and never, not to the point of where I was willing to embrace that as my modicum of operation or advocation to my clients. And then over the years, with the experience that I had with my clients, many of whom were vegans and fruitarians, or aspiring vegans or aspiring fruitarians, was to the effect that it is not particularly applicable to population as a whole, that there are people who just cannot be fruitarians or vegans successfully, that if they try to be, that the outcome, the eventual outcome, if they really push it hard, will be that they will die. in actual fact. And I have seen this occur. I've seen children that have been born with brain damage. I've been women, ladies, mothers that have been unable to become pregnant because until such time as they have gone back and started using some form of animal product in their diet. And so all of these things have made me, you might say, rather conservative in regard to my approach to veganism and fruitarianism, and I feel that all I can say is that it just doesn't work for many people, and so if you're having problems, you must look elsewhere, or else you're likely to cause yourself irreparable damage, even to the point of killing yourself.
Što mislite da nedostaje tim ljudima za koje možda takav način prehrane nije odgovarajući, jer naravno svako individualno, ono što za nekog radi savršeno, za drugog možda i ne. Što je njemu u stvari mislite da je nedostajalo?
Well, traditionally it is considered that the lack is in vitamin B12. Now, I could not say that I disagree that B12 can be a limiting factor, and that particular factor is not right. But I believe it's much more complex than that, and I believe that we won't even know. I don't believe that science is ever going to know all that there is to know, and so I believe that, as I said, it's much more complex question than just vitamin B12. But what else is involved, I don't know.
Na koji način gledate na konzumaciju mlijeka? Poznato da jedan dio populacije jednostavno ne može mlijeko probaviti, nema određenu bakteriju. Potom postoje razne vrste mlijeka kod kojih su neke više prihvatljive za ljude ili manje, sličnije ljudskom i slično. Kako je vaše gledište za to, u tu namirnicu koja je postala sve prisutna i raširena u zadnjih 50, 60 godina, 70?
Well, basically you might say that every animal in nature, once it's weaned, doesn't drink milk anymore. And I feel that to some degree that applies to the human animal as much as it does to the other wild animals and domestic animals and such like. But we can utilize milk in its soured form, in the form of kumis or kefir or yogurt and such like. But this must be made from unpasteurized milk. It must not be made from pasteurized milk, because that really doesn't produce the traditional forms of kefir, kumis, yogurt, whatever. It, in my estimation, it produces rotten milk. And there've been many experiments that have been carried out over the years where they've taken the calf from the mother and they've separated it, and they've then taken the milk from the calf's mother and they pasteurized it and fed it to the calf. And in every instance that this has been occurred, where that has been the main form of food for the calf, that the calf has died in the end. So if it's so poisonous to the calf, which is its natural food, how much more poisonous it must be to me as a human being, it is not its natural food. And so we must start with unpasteurized milk, raw milk in its state, and then we will get the fermented product that we wish, and this will help. And this is a form of partial predigestion, and we then seem to be able to handle this, but only in small amounts.
A kada pričamo o jogurtu i kefiru, kao što ste rekli, to je već pretprobavljeno. A što sa baš samim mlijekom? Je li ono prikladno za ljude u kojim količinama?
Not in its pure form, not in its sweet form. In the child is able to take it because it has the enzymes and such like required at that particular stage, even up to perhaps 8 or 9 years of age. But then our body goes through a change, as you know, and we go through into puberty overall, and we become adults, and it goes through this whole change, and our whole digestive system changes as well, and we become what you mentioned before, we become intolerant. Lactose intolerant is the term that is used to describe the situation. And then it's at that stage that we then are unable to tolerate sweet milk, and we become lactose intolerant, and we're able to then utilize it in its fermented forms.
Kako se u kontekstu sirove hrane, odnosno kako vi gledate na meso, s obzirom da nikom se baš ne sviđa ideja jest sirovo meso, a i ne znam u kojoj mjeri zapravo se može govoriti o konzumaciji mesa kod ljudi koji zapravo je ono oduvijek bilo prisutno, ali ipak su velike razlike između danas kada je ono prisutno na dnevnoj osnovi ili prije 50-100 godina dok se to zbivalo nekoliko puta godišnje ili koji put mjesečno. Drugim riječima, na koji način mislite da ljudi u kontekstu sirove hrane mogu konzumirati meso po vama ili ga ne izbjegavati ili u kom obliku?
Again, we come back that it must, if it's to be eaten, I'm not an advocate of meat eating, but I do say to people, if you're going to include it in your diet, then the only way that you successfully can do so is in its raw state. But we must look at the traditional way of eating raw meat, and the traditional way of eating raw meat was to hang it and to wait until it was at a particular stage of fermentation, and then we utilized it in that way. And so if we do this, and we do it in small amounts, as you mentioned in the past, on occasions throughout the year, maybe once a month or something like that, then we can utilize it beneficially. And one authority, Dr. Tilden in the United States, said that we should only use about the size of a silver dollar, which is an American coin, not much bigger than about that size, and then we will be all right. But if we utilize it in the form that we're utilizing it today, as each sitting down and having a steak at each meal, then we're going to have trouble.
Drugim riječima, u kontekstu sirove hrane radi se o sušenom mesu, a ne o kuhanom, pečenom ili onom istinski sirovom, krvavom, da tako kažem.
Yes, it's when we say about dried meat, there is a slight difference between hung meat and dried meat. The hung meat is allowed to ferment overall, whereas the dried meat is like dried food, it's dried and crisp type of thing, or it might be still pliable, but it hasn't got that same fermentive action that is occurring as it does with hung meat.
Kada se Zapad zapravo prvi put se susreo s nekim konceptima, na svijetu se naime u imperijalnom širenju susretalo sa raznim kulturama, civilizacijama gdje su neki ljudi bili doista dugoživući, zdravi i slično. Zanimljiv je bio slučaj, dakle, jednog liječnika iz britanske vojske koji se susreo u Indiji sa hunzama. Što ga je to naučilo, zbog čega su ga interesirali, što je kod njih istraživao i kakve zaključke izvukao?
His conclusions were that foods should be eaten in their simple, natural state as much as possible, that they shouldn't be eaten to excess, and that meat should only be utilized on very special occasions throughout the year. And what he found was that these people were exceptionally healthy in the way of long life. They claimed people of living up to 120 years of age, and he utilized these people as carriers because the normal carriers did not have the strength of these people. And what he described was very outstanding, that when the members of the army, their carriers, that they would be climbing up mountainsides and they would fall with exhaustion. But these other people had so much strength that they would not only pick up the burden of the carrier, they would pick up the carrier too and put him on his back and carry him and his burden up the hill as well, when these other people had fallen from exhaustion. And he thought that was a very outstanding instance of the benefit of this way of life.
Dobro, taj čovjek je u stvari bio pokušavao primijeniti, napraviti britanske vojnike jednako izdržljivima kao domaće stanovništvo. Danas bismo mogli, eto, probati na kraju emisije vaš koncept odnosa hrane i zdravlja možda sažet u nekoliko postulata. Sami ste rekli da nije riječ samo o sirovoj hrani, nego o cijelom rasponu utjecaja kojima se izlažemo od naših misli do životnih navika. Na kraju krajeva ekstremna izloženost stresu može blokirati bilo kakav pozitivni učinak, bilo kakve tvari koje unosimo u sebe da nam na neki način pomogne. Koji bi ti bili postulati u kojima se povezuju i hrana i zdravlje i ideja da se tijelo zapravo najbolje samo iscijeljuje na načinima i po programima koje jedva da razumijevamo? Kako bi se to sve moglo sažeti?
Well, I could summarize it by saying that we are the cause of our problem because we are the only person who eats for us, who exercises for us, who thinks for us, who breathes for us, and so on. And we are also the cure. We're the only person that does all of those things, which enables the body to carry out its natural healing process. That the Dr. Russell Thacker Troll in the United States put it very simply when he said that nature has not provided remedies for diseases, nature has only provided penalties, that there is no cure but a return to obedience. I can't think of anything off there are others, but but we did start off by trusting the process, and that is very important in this whole thing. And Gary Zukav was a very outstanding person who made that particular comment with regard to the function of our body. There was another quotation that came from Dr. Reich Hamer, who was a German oncologist and who gave up being an oncologist through his experience with cancer. And he said, nature does not make mistakes, only we make mistakes.
U svakom slučaju, sa tom misli ćemo završiti, da nam ostaje odzvanjati u glavi. Hvala vam na gostovanju i do neke sljedeće prilike kad se možda opet vidimo. Doviđenja. Hvala i vama na pažnji. Kao i obično, i kod sirove hrane na kraju krajeva čini se da je riječ o isključivanju posrednika, u ovom slučaju posrednika između prirode i čovjeka, jer doista jest, kad se malo bolje razmisli, ambiciozna zamisao da čovjek može poboljšati nešto tako kompleksno i staro kao što je priroda sama, koja u sebi u ostalom sadrži još toliko procesa i međuodnosa da je moguće da ih se nikad neće moći obuhvatiti. No, neke stvari rade i ako ne znate kako rade, a u velikoj ponudi ideja koja nam se nudi, možda ona o povjerenju u prirodu kao nosioca svega što je čovjeku potrebno i to u izvornom obliku sa što manje intervencija, zvuči prilično razumno. A u međuvremenu, laku noć.